So, there are a lot of lies about me on the internet. Lots of people like to claim I said things I never said, twist things I did say so that they're unrecognizable, invent lies about my personal life, and otherwise just be really shitty. So I thought I'd round up a bunch of the bullshit and address it directly, because people are still bringing up things that I clarified like forever ago. So here we are.
Yep, here we are. We are here today to actually... I don't think for the first time, but one of the few times, I'm actually going to look at Riley as a person. The things that have been said about her. Because I've said a lot of things about her. I think Riley's sending me secret messages. I'm not saying for sure. Well, a lot of things sound familiar. I don't know if I'm saying Riley watches my videos, but hey Riley, if you're watching, what's going on? I just wanted to clarify for you why you don't get why people say the things that they think about the things that you say. But this is an amazing video. I'm not sure if you're trying to debunk the myths or just trying to give the backstory as to why they exist. I don't entirely understand this video, Riley. That's why I'm making this one. I have questions. And you know, you're the answer gal.
Okay, so the first one is probably obvious to anyone who's been following this channel for a while. My first video about dating preferences came out in November of 2016, so like over a year ago, and people are still bringing it up and writing articles about it and making response videos about it and just really not understanding what I said at all.
I'm in response to this. I think I understood what you said. You know? You're going to say it again, so it's all good.
In the aftermath, I did like 2 other videos on the subject, but obviously that didn't change anything, because no one was listening to me anyway. What I said, and what I still believe, is that we are all raised with implicit biases that we are not consciously aware of, and that these biases seep into our dating preferences even if we're not actively aware of it. What that means is that oftentimes what people have a preference for isn't their innate preference. It is to some degree influenced by the world around them.
So fucking what? Seriously, so what? If your preferences are influenced by anything, that's your preferences are evolving. They're becoming whatever they are. Sometimes later in life you find out you like things you didn't realize that you liked in the first place. Or maybe you like it now that you've tried it, but you didn't think you'd ever like it before. But I would say that attraction is pretty much a preference. Like, you're attracted to what you're attracted to. There might be kinks and things like that, fetishes that you might go into that you didn't think you'd go into, but pretty much what you're attracted to, as far as what a person looks like, pretty much what you're fucking attracted to. Like, there are some black girls that I find to be very attractive. There are some that I find not be very attractive. But if they were white girls that looked the same, I still wouldn't find them attractive. Like, you know what I mean? It's the facial features that I don't find attractive. I actually think girls with a darker skin tone are more attractive than like white tan girls. And I think white girls that are really, really pale are more attractive than like your normal tan girls too. But certain tans I think are more... skin tone is even something where certain shades will just trip my trigger. And usually I lean more towards dark. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's what you're into. It's your fucking... It's just your preference. So what if there's... I don't know. Like, I don't think... I don't think biases make a difference as far as being just as simple as skin deep. You know? You talk about disabled people. You know, I've seen some very attractive people that were disabled, but I still wouldn't want to date them. That's a lot of responsibility. I can barely take care of myself. You know what I mean? Like, so, I feel I'm doing the responsible thing by going, yeah, you're attractive, but I just think we'd be a bad fit. Because, like I said, I can't be relied upon for a whole hell of a lot. So, what do you want from me? I feel like I'm doing a good deed. Shit.
I think it's ignorant to say that everyone's dating preferences are 100% completely innate and not affected by the world around them at all.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. I just think that's ridiculous. I think it's what you're attracted to. Whether society alters that, it doesn't make a fucking difference. It's still what you're attracted to. You're attracted to what you're attracted to. And you're fucking not attracted to what you're not attracted to. Shut up.
Society tells us that a certain kind of person is beautiful. White, thin, cisgender, straight, abled. That messaging affects all of us, whether we want it to or not. And we all have to work to unlearn that prejudice.
Man, I work with some guys that will tell you flat out they have no use for a woman if she isn't pushing 200. So, and like I just said, I generally tend to lean towards darker shade of skin. I like a darker shade of skin. So, or like ridiculously pale. Like, so it has to be unique in some way. You know what I mean? Like, unique to me. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be unique to me in some way. So, I don't know what to tell you. It's not as simple as you're trying to make it. It's not you're fucking racist so you don't like black people. Some people just aren't attracted to that shade of skin. Oh.
We should all try to question our preferences and discern if they're actually innate or socially influenced. Obviously, that's not what all the response videos said. Tons of people were claiming I said that if you don't date trans people, you're a bigot. Except that I never said the word bigot in any of my videos on that topic.
That's what you're fucking planting your flag in? You never actually said the word bigot? You said every word in the definition of bigot, but you didn't actually say bigot, so that... Whatever, here it comes. Just wait for it.
I also never said anyone had to date anyone or had to have sex with anyone, but tons of people claimed that I did. I've been pretty clear that I'm a huge fan of consent.
Stay on target.
And I firmly believe that you always need enthusiastic consent to have sex.
Stay on target.
You're allowed to say no to sex or dating for any reason, even if that reason is shitty and discriminatory.
It's away! Yeah, you can have your preferences whatever way you want them to, even if it's fucking shitty and discriminatory. Why would anybody think that you mean bigoted? I don't know.
However, afterwards, I think it's reasonable that you should question why you hold that possibly discriminatory preference.
Seriously. Black girls I don't find attractive. Even if they had white skin, I still wouldn't find them attractive. If Serena Williams was pale as snow, I still wouldn't find her attractive. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if the fucking the black girl that was in the new Ghostbusters movie, if she was white and skinny but still had that face, I wouldn't be attracted to her. If she was gorgeous in the face and still big, Melissa McCarthy, if she was gorgeous in the face and still big, I wouldn't be attracted to her. It's because it's the way it is. I don't know. It's just the way it is. And I've been there, done that. And you know, the mind is willing. The flesh don't give a shit. It doesn't want it. It's like your fucking cat. You give it one type of food and it smells it and it goes, yeah, I'm not even gonna fucking try that. And you're fucked. What are you gonna do? It starves to death or you buy new food. I don't know. My dick is the cat in this.
That's probably the biggest myth. The rest of these, in terms of media attention and views and stuff, are much smaller, but they're still pretty ridiculous. So the next one started with a tweet about the Las Vegas shooting. If you're not aware, on October 1st, a white man shot up a concert in Las Vegas, killing 58 people and injuring 546 others. This was obviously a devastating tragedy, but what I think is important to point out is that every time there was an incident involving a Muslim attacker, Trump would call to ban all Muslims, but he didn't call to ban all white men after the Las Vegas shooting.
It's because white men aren't getting together in large groups and training to kill as many Americans as possible. They're not trying to figure out the best ways to kill as many Americans as possible. There's no white man Al-Qaeda. There's no white man ISIS. These are Muslim groups that are doing things on Muslim behalves. Like they're using the Muslim faith is the reason why they're doing this shit. If there was a whole bunch of white men that were just getting together, and then their only thing was, yeah, we're just white men, and we just want to kill as many Americans as we can, then yeah, Trump would probably want to ban those groups from being in the United States. But it was a crazy dude who went fucking crazy, and he stockpiled a shit ton of guns, and then he went uber crazy and fucking shot a whole bunch of people. If we could ban all crazy people from the country, I think Trump would be okay with that. And honestly, I'd be right there with him. If we could find all of the really violent people that are collecting guns and stockpiling them so that one day they could pop off and fucking shoot a whole bunch of people, yeah, we need to get rid of them. But we can't find them because they look like everybody else. You know what I mean? So they don't walk around in groups. They don't have little uniforms and flags and little songs. God damn it, you're just so asinine!
I think it's horrifically discriminatory to suggest banning all Muslims. In fact, right now, the newest version of Trump's travel ban is in effect. However, I'm filming this a while before the video will go live, so it's possible that something could change before then because I know it's still being challenged in the courts.
Hope. It is one of the beautiful things about the whole SJW faith. It is so chock full of hope. They're always so hopeful that everybody's going to do what they want. There's so much hope. When your ideology is so stupid, it's really all you have is just hope.
Anyway, the point is, banning Muslims is wrong. So to point out how discriminatory and wrong it is, after the Las Vegas shooting, I tweeted #BanAllWhiteMen.
See, and that's just stupid because the relation is not there. He didn't do it because he's a white guy that hates America. There really is no comparison. It's insulting on the face of it. Because there really is no comparison. And the comparison is insulting.
Obviously, I don't seriously believe we should ban all white men from the United States. I don't think I should have to clarify that. It seems pretty obvious. But after I tweeted that, hundreds of people got super mad because they thought I was being serious. The same people who are always saying that feminists can't take a joke couldn't understand the simplest form of satire.
It's because you don't understand that that's not satire. It's stupid.
I was pointing out how ridiculous it is to ban an entire group of people based on their religion or race or gender or anything like that. That's like the definition of satire. But apparently, if you're satirical at all on the internet, a bunch of angry white dudes are gonna take you literally and be super offended by it. Honestly, this one was more funny than anything.
Well, I'm glad you're getting a kick out of it. You know, whatever makes you happy. It's going to be so great later when she talks about how words are violence, but of course it doesn't matter because it's white people she's talking to. It's just the double standards. Like, there's some people that are just like, we hate the double standards. I hate wherever there's this double standard. And yet they create a double standard for everything.
Like, you have to be some sort of crybaby to whine about me satirically pointing out that banning whole groups of people is discriminatory.
Honestly, I could see it, the joke plays. The joke plays. It's a good meme. It's a good meme. It is a good meme. But it's a good meme in response to the fucking immigration ban. Trump bans Muslims, and you all go #ban all white men. Yeah, there you go. There's your satire, right? We're banning Muslims because Muslims bad, and okay, we'll ban white men because white men bad too. It's a good meme, right? But Muslims get together and form ISIS, and they just terrorize people and kill people, and they blow themselves up to kill as many people as possible and all this horrible shit. Versus one dude who's white and male, and he gets a bunch of guns and shoots a bunch of people from a fucking hotel. There's no satire there, you moron. You're
The next myth is less of a specific event and more of just a thing that I'm randomly accused of a lot of the time. Basically, I believe that those who harass and abuse marginalized people,
in your opinion,
or those who advocate for ideologies that are inherently violent and hateful towards marginalized people,
in your opinion,
those people should be denied a platform to express their views. And apparently, because of that, everyone accuses me of hating free speech and wanting to censor and silence everybody who disagrees with me.
Because that's what you want. Because all of that shit is based on your opinion.
But that's just not true. We can disagree about certain things, that's fine. But advocating for the genocide of entire groups of people is not okay. And you should not be allowed to spew that hatred on any platform you want without consequences.
Fuck that shit, let them talk. I don't care. Because their ideas are stupid. That's why I don't mind. That's why every time somebody's like, oh, they need to get Riley off this platform, I'm like, why? What are you trying to do to me here, man? This is fucking gold. This is great. You know? It's fantastic. It's so funny. It's just, it's like there's no way to make it funny when it's Richard Spencer. Because you sit there and you listen to him talk and you go, no. Dude. No. And there's nothing really to go with it. They're not as stupid. Because they know that what they're saying is, so they're just fucking all in with it. And they just, white people are awesome. It's like, nah, not so much. I mean, we're okay, but, you know, we've got our strengths, we've got our weaknesses, like everybody else. You know what I mean? You guys are so dumb because you want such just terrible things, and there's so many people that believe it. That's the problem. That's why we hammer you guys so much. Because the KKK and the neo-Nazis and all those fucking groups, man, they had their fucking time. It's done. It's done. We're diversifying just because of the fact that we're getting generation after generation after generation now. And we're intermixing more and more and more. It's just, it's dying out. It's on a respirator, man. Sooner or later, the plug's just, it's not going to matter. The power's going to leave. So, we don't care about that shit. But you guys are in a resurgence. You guys are fucking coming up. And it's scary. Because you guys want crazy shit. And you're so stupid.
Social media networks, universities, book publishers, and other organizations should be allowed to deny you a platform. They don't owe you space to spread your garbage beliefs. I don't think that should be a controversial viewpoint. Free speech means the government won't stop you from saying something. It doesn't mean that everybody has to allow you to say it on their platforms, especially if that platform is paid, like in the case of university speaking gigs or book publishing deals.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that you're okay with people doing whatever it takes to get these events shut down. If a group properly sponsors it, if everything's paid, if all of the forms are filled out, if everything's good, and people want this to happen, they should be allowed to have this happen. You can't then decide, we don't want this to happen, so we're going to go burn the building. No. That's, no. You can't do that. If everything's in order, you let it fucking proceed. You protest if you want, but you don't shut the fucking thing down. That's where it becomes a problem. That's where you're stifling conversation. And like I said, man, I want these people to talk. Let them fucking talk. Come up with something interesting, and I'll fucking counter it if it's too fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Let them fucking talk. Their ideas are dumb. Let them spread them.
The next myth is related. Basically, I think some forms of violence are much worse than others. I made a whole video about this, but I'll try to sum it up real quick. I think it's called the paradox of tolerance. Basically that to maintain a tolerant society, you have to be intolerant to intolerance. Like violence against someone because of their race or sexual orientation or something similar, that's much worse than violence against someone who advocates genocide against innocent people. You can watch the whole video if you want, but that's the gist of it. So the myth that came out of that is that people claim that I advocate for violence against anyone who disagrees with me.
Riley, that's what you said. The meme. Look. Riley, some laws are okay to break, brother. That's you? We're making fun of you! That's why I put that in front of every video I do on you. Riley, you said as much in your video.
Which is obviously untrue. I'm not a fan of violence, but sometimes violence can be justified. Most people recognize that. That's why self-defense is usually seen as okay. So I don't think you should be violent towards everyone who disagrees with you. But I really don't feel that bad for Nazis who go around advocating genocide and then get punched in the face.
I didn't say that it's cool to be violent against people that I don't like. But I don't really care if you're violent against people that I don't like. She's so awesome.
The next myth comes from a video I did called Misgendering Trans People is an Act of Violence. I made the case that the word violence can be used to describe non-physical violence as well. I cited the World Health Organization's definition of violence and generally argued that non-physical violence can be used to harm people, either by depriving them of resources they need to survive, or by making them feel so bad that they become suicidal, or something else like that. I think there's a strong case there that you can do a lot of damage without ever touching someone, and that should be considered violence.
Yeah, see, this is the tricky wordplay that you do. Honestly, this is probably the most important of all of them. This is the little tricky wordplay that you do. See, an act of violence is a crime. If you attack somebody, if you perform an act of violence against them, that's a crime. Right? So when you try to say that leaving a mean tweet on Twitter is violence, that's a crime. Because then you're stifling the whole free speech thing. Because you're making saying things a crime. It's that little clever wordplay you like to do. It's one of those things where you push the definition change and then you push the legal matter. Right? And that's why we always fucking hammer on this point, because we're not going to allow the definition change. No. It isn't an act of violence to leave somebody a mean tweet. You choose how much that affects you. You do. Like, at first, it's going to affect you however it's going to affect you. You have no choice in that. But you have a choice as to how much it's going to continue to affect you. If it's going to be a thing where it's going to eat your fucking mind, then you have to decide how involved into this that you really want to get for your own fucking health. You have to have a level of control over yourself. And if you don't have that level of control over yourself, you're a fucking animal. And you need to learn how to be human. Self-control. Coping mechanisms. These are things that people like you have stifled out of our existence because everything has to be equal in your eyes. So it's unfair anytime anything happens that you don't like. That's just unfair. And that's because somebody else has made it unfair. That's your coping mechanism. You blame everybody else. So when you get shit on, you go, well, that's everybody else's fault. And you take everything really fucking personal, and you don't know how to brush anything off because it's personally offended you, because it's not fair. Because what defense do you possibly have against somebody calling you stupid when your ideas are so fucking stupid? I mean, I get it. I get the frustration, but Your ideas are fucking stupid. You need to smarten up. But no, you allow it to affect you to that point. I get shitty comments from time to time. Doesn't happen often, but it does. And I choose to laugh at it and have a game with it, because that's what I've chosen for my attitude towards doing this. You've decided to wrap up your identity into this. And that's where everything is personal. You need to get off yourself a little bit, Riley. You're way too self-interested.
However, what I hear all the time now is, Riley Dennis believes words are violence. And people constantly are like, oh yeah, you think an insult is the same as getting punched in the face? And it's hilarious how much they can completely miss the mark with what I was talking about. Just because words can be a form of violence doesn't mean they're equivalent to all other forms of violence. Some physical forms of violence are less serious than others. Slapping someone is less violent than stabbing someone. Likewise, words can be violence while still being less violent than a lot of physical forms of violence. I think it's ignorant to believe that violence is only ever carried out through physical actions. If you blackmail someone into killing someone else, you committed violence without ever getting your hands dirty. If you put policies in place to starve out a specific community and people die because of it, you have committed violence without ever touching someone. If you bully someone until they commit suicide, you committed violence against them. Violence can have non-physical forms. That's not an outlandish claim in the slightest. People just got upset because they really hate trans people and want to be able to misgender them without feeling bad about it.
See, you're a fucking asshole. You say something like, Riley said, or everybody thinks that Riley says that words are the same as punching somebody in the face. And no, you don't. You think it's fucking worse. Seriously. You compared slapping somebody with stabbing somebody. You put words on the stabbing end of that spectrum, Riley, when the next fucking 3 examples that you give about words being violent result in people dying. When you blackmail somebody into murdering somebody, when you starve out a community with policies, when you bully somebody till they commit suicide, you're not talking about slaps here, you dumb bitch. You're talking about stabbing. That's why we think you're an ass. Because you do honestly think that words are fucking violence that leads to death. I don't know if you're just that dumb or you think we're all that dumb, but I listen to what you say. And when you say, well, yeah, I think that words are violence, but some forms of violence are less violent than other forms of violence. It's just words lead to death. Which kind of puts them on the top end. See, it's that subtle fucking manipulation of the language. Your ears don't quite catch it, but your brain does.
And this last one is so wild to me. A while back, I talked about my experience being trans, and I said that I didn't come out until college. I didn't realize that the time I came out would bother people so much. Like, that's when I figured it out. For some people, they figure it out sooner. For others, they don't figure it out until much later. For me, it was in my early 20s while I was in college. That seems totally normal to me. But then, people started accusing me of being a conservative stereotype who was brainwashed by a liberal college and turned into a wild transgender. So I think there's this myth that college turned me trans, which couldn't be further from the truth. I don't owe anyone any details about my college experience, but I can assure you that my college was not making me trans. I just happened to be in college at the time that I was figuring all this stuff out. That was when I found the right information online and learned what being trans was and realized that that resonated with me. I think it's pretty shitty to say that everyone who comes out in college is a conservative stereotype. Sometimes people come out in college. Big fucking deal. Who cares? Let people come out whenever they're comfortable, whether they're in college or not. The ridiculous amount of policing that happens in the trans community, especially by other trans people, is just so fucked up. Let people have their own lives and their own stories, and mind your own business.
Now, see, I'm fine with all that. That's all fine. Whatever. But Riley doesn't seem to understand that people don't choose to be a stereotype. Like, there isn't a black guy out there that went, you know what? I like that stereotype about us being able to dance, so I choose to be able to dance. No. It doesn't fucking work like that. So if the stereotype is guys go into college and come out transgendered women, and you're a dude that went into college, came out a transgender woman, you fit the stereotype. Like, you've become the stereotype. Doesn't fucking matter whether or not you chose to be that fucking stereotype. Like, you don't choose to be the stereotype. White dude doesn't choose to not be able to dance. White dude doesn't choose to have a small dick. Believe me. And there wasn't a black dude out there that said, yeah, I'd rather have the big dick than the small dick. They just... Like... Not a lot of Asians choosing to be good at math. They work fucking hard. Not a lot of Jews that are choosing to be lawyers. They work fucking hard at it. It's not a thing where the dude goes, I'm Jewish. I want to make a lot of money. I choose to be a lawyer. I choose to just be that stereotype. And then, welcome to our firm. It doesn't fucking happen like that, you idiot. So yeah, you're the fucking stereotype, Riley. Sorry. It just is the way it is because it's based on the perception of others. That's how stereotypes work. Such a fucking meme. And that's the thing. You've surpassed stereotype. You've become a meme. You are a fucking meme, Riley.
He, she, mangina.